Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Behind the Grind. So, today on the 10th of December, Space Marine 2 finally got a new update. In it, we have some gameplay changes, some hot fixes, a new operation mode, and we also have some brand new cosmetics to dive into. So, before we begin, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel as it helps out tremendously, and I greatly appreciate your support. So let's dive into the December 10 update for Space Marine 2. So let's just address the elephant in the room. We have a new operations map called Obelisk, which takes place on the planet of Demirium and sets you up against the forces of chaos as you support Lieutenant Titus and his fight against the chaos forces towards the end of the campaign. In this mission, you basically have to disrupt the operations of said obelisk towards the end of the mission, and you're basically fighting chaos forces and solving puzzles on your way there. So, in this mission, we have a brand new enemy, which is this Zongor flying around on a disc. Now, this new enemy is not a mini boss of sorts, more so like a field type enemy, like the Rubric Space Marines, in which it doesn't have a health bar and it's not like a specific encounter, but they just kind of show up in order to support the other forces like cultists, Zongors, or Chaos Space Marines. So it's a little disappointing to see one new enemy type. A lot of people were expecting like a new faction in general, but Focus Entertainment had shown that it was going to be a new Zongor variant, and well, it's just what it is. It's what we have in the game, so maybe it was on us for expecting something a little bit different here, but I mean, for what it is, it's pretty cool. So I'm not necessarily going to complain much about that. So yeah, a new operations called Obelisk. So this is, in my opinion, it's a good operations map. I do like it. However, I just have some nitpicks about it, as I did with the previous operation that we got post-launch called Termination, in which this is just another operations mode set on the map of Demirium. This sort of distorted purple chaos space world in which you don't necessarily feel the variety here. Like, I just feel like I'm playing Fall of Atreus or Reliquary all over again. What I've been saying for weeks now, post-launch of Space Marine 2, is that some of the operations feel the same. And the problem is that we don't have any variety in terms of what we're really looking at. Like, if you didn't know anything about Space Marine 2 and you were to take a look at some of these operations, well, like, you could assume that all of the operations modes set on Demirium were all the same mission. Same can be said for Avarax and Kadaku. There's just no variety when it comes to setting in Space Marine 2. And like I've said before, this stems down from the problem that we have in campaign, in which there's not a lot of variety in terms of places where we play. And since they reuse assets from the campaign in operations and in Eternal War, I think they really locked themselves in with a problem here. And across all the different modes, everything just looks the same. There's no distinction in between different missions set on the same worlds. You have a jungle world, you have a city hive world, and then you have a chaos distorted purple space world. It all looks the same, and you know, it's good. Like, I like it. Like, they actually introduced some new puzzles into this mission that can be kind of annoying sometimes, I will say, as a negative, if you are playing with randoms and they don't necessarily know what they're doing. One puzzle requires somebody to carry a torch, as it is super dark, and if you step out into the darkness without the light source, you will take continued damage. And then another puzzle requires somebody to hold a certain position as some distorted islands kind of go clockwise, and you kind of have to step off at the right time in order to lock in the island, so that way you can use said island to cross over to the next area. And like I said, if you have randoms that don't necessarily know what they're doing, well, they're just going to keep fucking it up over and over. So I will say that those are the two annoying parts when it comes to this mission. But everything else, like, shit, it felt really good to play a new operations map finally. And it's crazy to me that we've only gotten 2 in 3 months, but I'm not going to sit here and complain. I mean, I have complained before in the past, and I do realize that the Developers are doing a good job, but so far this seems to be a step in the right direction. However, it will get stale eventually, and then I'll have to come up with another video complaining that we don't have enough content. So, I mean, it is what it is. You can't really do anything about that. But moving on from the operations mode, obviously we have some gameplay changes. I was looking up online, and apparently some of the melee weapons got a buff, and some of the melee blocking weapons specifically got a buff, in which if you absorb damage 3 times with the block, then your character releases an AoE and it damages enemies around you. I personally have not practiced with this yet. I don't necessarily use blocking weapons, but if they got a buff, I will definitely be trying them in the future. And then we also got the Dark Angels Champion Pack for $9.99. Or if you're a Season Pass owner, you get that by default. This, just like the Ultramarine Successor Pack, you get some unlockable cosmetics that you get a new heraldry tree for. And some of this stuff is really good when it comes to building a lore accurate character if you want to use the proper heraldry, and you get a bunch of Dark Angels successor packs, which, you know, is always a great addition to something like this. I've always said that I don't mind cosmetics. However, what does always infuriate me is when they put a price tag on colorways. And unfortunately, we have a couple new colorways here that are locked behind a paywall, and that's just enough to go and piss me off. But I don't mind if they monetize like certain helmets or certain armor points and pieces. Like I don't mind that. It's only when you monetize the colorways that really sets me off in the wrong way. But yeah, I mean, looking at this new update, I think there's something in here for everybody. We've been patiently waiting for a new update. I forgot to mention that we also have the ability to change lenses on your Space Marine helmet. And this especially helps with creating, like I said before, a lore accurate character. So if you're a sergeant and you need to have green eyes, well, you can put the green eyes now, or like Imperial Fists, they have blue eyes. And yeah, that's just a nice little addition that I don't necessarily understand why it wasn't there at launch, but I mean, it's here now, so there's no point in going back to the past and complaining about it because it's here now. So, as I was saying, there's something in here for everybody. It's going to bring back a couple of players for the next week or two, and then unfortunately, we're going to be in that pool again where everybody has already done all the content and we're just waiting for more. So, developers, if you're listening in, this is great. Keep up the great work and just keep pumping out content like this. But we are going to need to ramp up those numbers when it comes to the future in order to continue the sustainability of this game. So with all that said, I'd say Space Marine 2's newest update deserves a fair shot. I say go play the game, go experience it for yourself. I will say that if you are now buying the game at full price, it is most definitely worth it now that you have 9 operations maps. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel as it does help out tremendously. This has been Behind the Grind, and I'll catch you on the next one.